Welcome to Box Delights. I've got a real treat for you tonight. This is an upcoming card game called Legends Untold. It's a card for 1 to 4 and claims to be a role-playing game in card form. If you saw my preview of UK Games Expo 2016, you'll know that this was one of the games I was looking forward to seeing, and I met the guys there in Birmingham and have been following their progress ever since, and they've gotten to a point where they were ready to send me a copy of like a preview. Now let me just start by saying this is a small subset of the game. Okay, we're playing in a location called the Caves. This is one location. The deck's just quite short because there's other locations with other adventures and encounters to be had, as well as progression of characters that allows you to level up and move through a larger array of scenarios. So what I'm showing you here is kind of the first, what we've got. We've got a whole bunch of scenarios, I think 1 to 8. Yeah. One of the cards has been removed, and these 6 cards here are just acting like a timer for the game. So we're going to play solitaire with just one hero. You can play co-op with 1, 2, 3 or 4. These are our starting stats down here. Normally you'd begin with a weapon and a couple of talents. Playing solitaire, you get yourself an extra talent called grit. I'm just a regular Joe, but I do have an occupation. I'm a forge hand, okay? I work with metal. There's also a student, an evicted noble, farm hand here. Here's the extra scenario that was drawn away. Okay, I should have metallurgy. There it is. Okay, now we're good to go. So we've got 3 talents and an extra one called grit for playing solo. Normally in a party you'll be using a diverse set of skills to help each other out. So there is a lot of cooperation, but I just want to show you the solo game because, well, I know that's what you folks like. So let's get stuck in and enjoy this game. We're going to be exploring some caves. The scenario we're playing is called Missing Adventurers. Scenario number 1. Several adventurers have gone missing. Recover the treasure map they took with them to the nearby caves. Here's our setup, remove the boss and deputy, we've already done. There's some special rules here. Resolve at least 5 locations, find the tattered map and warning note loot items. We got times 6. Every time we go through this, an event's going to occur, so it's going to make it harder to play. Now, a lot of the artwork you see here is placeholder art, so just take it with a pinch of salt. Maybe the graphic design is getting a little bit closer, but everything here is prototype, right? These highly glossy laminated cards are just prototype stuff. We got a reference card here to the cave hazards. Okay, this is a reference card, tells us what's happening when we encounter different things in different cave locations. A barrier here and our adventure deck, which is going to be driving the story along. And this is where we start our adventure. We're coming in to the caves here at this location. Now for the most part, treat this game like your role-playing game. Okay, so imagine our forge hand has entered the caves. Yeah, he's on his own. He's gone out to search for these missing adventurers. Now we've got a path to follow, and we've got 3 different paths. One of the things you'll learn about this game is that light is very important when you're sneaking around these caves. This exit here with 2 torches is bright. Okay, we can see clearly and we can be seen clearly. This exit here is dark. It's very dark. Okay, we can hide in the shadows when we're sneaking about. This one here is ambient, somewhere between. I'll explain what effect these have on the game shortly. Now I can choose to take any one of these 3 paths. If I choose to take the path to the right, however, there's a barrier in the way. And what I would need to do here is draw a barrier card and establish what was standing in our way. So these are just random barrier cards all shuffled up. Okay, we don't know what's coming. So let's start with heading this ambient way. Now I don't want to just boldly walk in here without thinking about what I'm doing. Okay, now I have an option to sneak, alright, and hide in the shadows where I can. If I take that sneak, I'm going to get a +2 bonus on scouting the location that's coming up, taking a peek at what's up front before we head in there. You don't have to do that. I could just flip now and see the location, but I'm going to sneak. All right, I'm going to get this +2 bonus. There's a few icons on here, but we'll come to those in a minute. Let's start by looking at the exits. There's 2 exits here, or entrance ways. There's a dark and an ambient. Okay, the one without torches, there's light and a darkness. And we've gone from ambient, so we've got to place the ambient here. Place this next to here. Now if you were playing with a party, the first thing you would do is you would choose which person is scouting ahead, which person is taking a position at the rear and being the guard, and which adventurers are in the middle. Okay, and it's this scout that's taking the head position. Some effects in the game, some events, will affect the person being guard, the one at the back, and the person being scout, the one at front, and the 2 people in the middle. When you're playing solitaire, you're always the scout, you're always that person up front, okay? But before we start looking at some of these icons, remember we sneaked in here, which means we lose 1 time. We discard one of these cards. Once we get through this deck and we hit the bottom one, then we turn it over, remember these are shuffled, and an event unfolds, okay? So there's 1 of 6 events that could unfold once we get through that time. Okay, time is going to be like a currency for us. But now that we've journeyed onwards, we've revealed our location, we chose to sneak, we've added it to the map, we have to do this scouting test, and this is where we get our +2 bonus. And the scouting test is made against the brightness difficulty of the location we just entered. Let's have a closer look at this card. Down in the bottom left here, we have some numbers. If we entered in darkness, we'd need to roll a 7, and all these skill tests are going to be done using 3d6. Entering in ambient lighting, we need a 10, and in brightness 13. Basically it's harder when it's bright because we're trying to sneak and we're trying to hide in the shadows. We can't hide and get a jump on whatever's there unless we've got hidden in the darkness. Okay. So we're going to try and go, we entered in ambient, we need a 10 with a +2 off 3 dice. So let's go and make that roll before we do anything else. Now we do have things that can help us. So for example, the Forge Hand has this caving ability, which adds 2 to a climb test. We're not doing a climb test, but this into darkness one, look, reduce the ambience level of the scouting checks from bright to ambient or ambient to dark. So with this into darkness ability, we could treat it as if it was dark, and that would move us from a 10, needing a 10 on 3 dice, to a 7. So let's use our caving, and we're going to exhaust it by tilting it sideways. Okay, so now we've got +2 from sneaking. We're now making out it's dark, so we've got a 7. So we need a 7 from 3 dice with a +2. And we did fine. We got 6, 7, 8, 9. +2 is 11. Yeah, we didn't really need our caving ability, but hey, we don't want to take too many risks early on. We've passed the test. What's important is how much we pass the test by. Equal to or 1 above, then we go in bold. 2 or more above, we go in alert. Below the scouting difficulty, we come in careless. Now that's helpful, potentially, because we're going to be alert to any of these dangers that we see in this location. So after entering a location, we now need to defeat any perils that we face. First we need to look for is any obstacles. These are the perils here. I'll switch this around again. So we've got a man here heaving a boulder. We've got a shield and an axe. So we've got, the first thing we do is check for obstacles, then we resolve foes, and then we resolve barriers into the location. Okay, which is this one here. So at this point we keep drawing from the adventure deck. We're going to put any cards aside that aren't obstacles, alright, until we find the first obstacle. Okay, so this is a broken crate. This one's got a treasure chest icon. Alright, that tells us that it's some loot. Alright, we're just going to put that to one side. Alright, if we get through this obstacle, this will be a reward. A broken crate. Nice byword. Okay, this one is a chasm, a trial. This is an obstacle. See the item up here? Now we're not in a team, we're just one person. This is a trial where any team members can contribute using their skills and talents. We're alone, so we face this alone. A yawning chasm blocks your path. Stalactites drip loudly. Will we swing from the stalactites? Will we try and leap the gap? Or will we try and climb? Perhaps this is where our caving talent would have been a bit more useful. This one gave us a +2 to our climb test, but we can't use it yet. The other thing to notice is we did come in alert, so we get a +2 bonus here. And we can choose which one of these three we're going to do, and each one uses a different skill. So this one uses touch, this one uses grace, and this one uses brawn. Now if we look at our forge hand, our character's occupation, it has a set of attributes here. So our brawn is 2, our touch is 3, and our grace is only 1. So maybe touch is a 3, but the +2 is 5, and we're looking for 14. And we go for brawn, and that would use up 2 time. Yeah, let's go for the one that uses only 1 time. So we're looking for a 14 with a +3, +2 for being alert. Let's roll our 3 dice. Incidentally, sometimes these things have icons here in this green section, and if they match any of these talents that we have, then we get an extra die, and we can choose the highest of our 3 dice. All right, pretty neat, huh? Okay, let's see what we got. We got 15 on the roll, and with our +2, that's 17, and our 3 touch, yeah, that's more than enough. So we just lose 1 time, and we've successfully swing from the stalactites across this chasm. So we lose 1 time, just 1 time, and then we take our loot, which is a broken crate. Okay, so our intrepid heroes have wandered in, survived the leap across the chasm, and now must face a foe waiting on the other side. Food is loot. We'll place this to one side. A trap, we'll discard. We're looking for foes. An encounter. A lantern. Here we go, some goblin drunks. We face our first foe. Now we have some choices. We can, if we're alert, which we are, we can choose to bypass the foe, making a bypass test. And there's a difficulty on the location that helps us with that. This number at the bottom, the 13, shows us that we need a 13 to bypass successfully. If we fail, then we have to combat, and we lose that alert bonus. Our second option, if we're alert or bold, is we can withdraw to the previous location. If we're careless, then we stumble upon this enemy, we're going to have to fight them anyway. Or we could just choose to engage the foe. I think we're probably going to engage these drunks. Let's see what we can do. Now remember, I told you this is all placeholder art, alright? But it's the mechanics of the game that make a difference. Now these things are scaled depending on how many people are in our party. Playing solo, there's 3 goblin drunks. This sword here, rather than a bow, tells you that it's a melee. They fight hand to hand. This box here would be filled if it was a ranged enemy. This is his defensive type stats. So the party gets +1 ranged, +0 hand to hand, and every hit delivers 1 damage. This number up here tells you each foe requires 1 damage to kill it, and then we got some text down the bottom here that says that they're drunk. For each 2 wounds received by this foe, increase damage dealt by 1 wound. So they will start to sober up a little bit as we start to knock them out. Let's start by resolving a round of combat and see how we get on. First step is to select our attacks. Each player selects either a weapon or a weapon talent. Let's just start simple and we'll just swing our axe, okay, which can be used as a melee weapon. We can use it as a ranged weapon, but this single arrow here shows you that you can only use it once as a ranged weapon, which we don't really want to do this early on. We don't want to just throw our axe and then not have anything to swing. So let's just swing our axe. These numbers here tell us when we roll our dice what we're going to score. 8 or less, then we fumble and we get hit by the creature we're attacking. On an 8, it's a pushback. We've been pushed back, okay? And we get a disadvantage then. This one here is we trade blows. Neither us nor the creature inflict damage. Advance. we drive back our enemy and we gain the advantage for the next combat round. 13 or more and we hit them, that's a strike. Advantage is going to give us a +2 on the next roll, disadvantage a -2. Okay, we don't want that happening. Now because we came into the combat alert, we start with the advantage. Alright, so we get a +2 on our roll to start us off. Let's roll and see what happens. We've got 6, 5, 1, that's a 12. With a +2 is 14. We've managed a hit. That takes them down. What's interesting here is the way that combat works in this game. You can see that although I face 3 goblins, it's me that's doing the rolling. Okay, they don't have specific stats for melee combat. If I was facing something like this goblin shaman, who does have a ranged attack, then he would get to roll his ranged attack, and he's looking for an 11+ to give me a hit. Otherwise, he's pushing me back, right? And I get disadvantage. But as it stands, in the hand-to-hand here, it's always just me rolling against my chart, against him, trying to do him 1 damage, or him doing me damage by rolling too low. Okay, makes sense? What's important is the number of foes here, because when you're engaging with melee, you have to do a melee attack for every 2 melee enemies you face. Alright? In other words, you have to engage them. You can't stand back and fire your bows or whatever. Okay. The other thing is that the strength of this enemy is dictated by the modifiers that we get to our ranged or our hand-to-hand attacks. Make sense? Okay. So it kind of simplifies the whole combat thing. You're just doing 1 roll and checking this chart and seeing what happens. Right. As it stands, we've done a damage here. Let's roll again. Now remember we had a +2 here. Okay. So what was our last roll? It was 12 + 2 was 14. The difficulty was 13. So we don't get advantage. We need to beat this by 2 or more to get advantage. Alright, so we don't get our +2 this time. We do have this charge ability which you can roll before this attack, so we could exhaust this for a charge. There is another choice for me here. We could use the metallurgy caltrops. So I could use this if I exhaust it like so, use it as a ranged attack, gain advantage for the party on a number of rolls equal to the number of these cogs that we have. These are our masteries. Let's not use it yet though, let's just go with a standard roll. We're looking for 13+. We may get the advantage next time. Let's roll. See what happens. Oh, it's a beautiful roll. That's 12 with a 5, that's 17. Wow, that's awesome. So we do have advantage next time anyway, and another hit. So he's down from 3 to 1, but he is going to now deal us 2 damage when he hits us. Okay, I think it's time now to do this mighty throw. We'll treat the axe as a ranged attack, and we'll drain the axe after use. Increase the damage inflicted to make it a critical. So we're going to do a ranged attack. We get a +1, we get +2 for advantage. We just need to throw this thing and take out that final drunk. And yeah, we got 12 +2, that's 14, that's enough to do it. We've defeated those goblin drunks. Good work. And we get some loot as well. Excellent, some food and a rawhide lantern. This lantern is going to be very useful. Light is extremely useful. Now we're not quite finished yet. Now we have this barrier to face to get through into this location. Our light might help us because it does now act as a light source. It does say reshuffle this card back into the adventure deck on the 3rd recuperation step that has passed since you gained it. So recuperations were going to happen at the end of our turn. Yeah, so it only lasts for so long. Food's good. This one allows us to heal 1 health to all heroes or 2 health to 1 hero. So 2 health's good. Taking damage in this game means we have to turn over our talents. We become more and more incapacitated. Let's see what happens then. We've got a barrier to pass, so let's draw. And this is a squeeze ascent. So our adventurer has leapt across the stalactites, faced a drunken party of goblins, and now has to squeeze up through this ascent. a steep ascent up a tight passage strewn with debris. Will we use our brute and dig through slowly, climb, or throw? I think I can clear the debris by throwing the rocks. I'm not sure. I think we'll try and climb. We need 14 and it uses brawn. We've got a brawn score of 2, remember? So that means we need a 12 off 3 dice. Is that too much to ask for? That's an average of 4 off each dice. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Okay, let's go in. Let's go for digging through slowly. No, actually we've got food. We've got food. Let's try and climb. Let's try and climb. So it's brawn 2. Yeah. See, my climb ability is useful, but I've exhausted it already. Never mind. We're looking for 14 with a +2 bonus. 6, 7, 8. +2 is 10. Yeah, we failed. So we take a wound. So I think, well, let's flip this one. It's a useful one, but we've already used it. It's okay to drain an exhausted card. If everything becomes drained, then we have to drain our occupation and we become unconscious and we can't do anything until the recuperation phase. We'll head into that and then we'll kind of wrap up, I think. Alright, we've made it past this squeeze ascent and we're into this clearing now. But it's not over just yet. First, we rotate the barrier 90 degrees to show that we've resolved it. Okay? That's where this squeeze ascent was. Now we draw an adventure card and find out what was on the other side of the barrier. Every time you complete a barrier, you draw an adventure card, then maybe something behind it. It happens to be some loot. Lobgourds, it says. So these are like a ranged weapon. Discard this to either add 3 to any move test, 1 to any mend, or use as a ranged weapon the profile given above. Excellent. Finally, we're in this location after getting through all that stuff. So you can see that getting around here is not always easy. We still haven't found the stuff we're looking for. Remember, we're looking for tattered map and warning note. Okay, now we can start to look around and explore. If there was any more barriers here, we could draw them, reveal them, see which way they took us out. There's a barrier here we could have drawn, actually, to see what barrier was leading off this way. We should have done that. But we didn't look, so that's okay. Remember, we're RPGing, so that's fine. You see, if there's an exit here with a barrier, we could say, well, let's go up to it, have a look and see what the barrier is, and try to face it, or just turn around and go back and leave it unresolved like this. Okay. As it stands, there's a campfire over here that we can investigate, or we can head off down this dark tunnel. Sometimes in this environment here, there's things that we can explore that are called discoveries or a search zone. So discoveries, we look through the adventure deck until we find a discovery and find out what kind of thing it is that we encounter. A location with a curiosity, like here for example. I'll shuffle this up afterwards, but yeah, this is a search area, another curiosity. Okay. So curiosities might be things like, let's see, some giant mushrooms, or we've got ancient shrine, a rune stone. Okay, a hitch in time. So things that act as curiosities or encounters. As it goes, we've reached the end of our turn and we can now complete the recuperation phase. And in the recuperation we restore all our exhausted cards, and we can also decide to camp here. If any of our heroes are unconscious, then we must camp, and we can spend some time here. So let's spend the time, and that allows us to restore one of our drained, in fact 2 of our drained talents. And that's it, we're ready to move on. To the next round, we can start exploring another location. Now there's so much more to show you in this game. There's lots and lots of depth to you know, all the different cars, the different weapons, and also campaign play. So, you know, once we've gotten to the end of this, we can then, you know, skill up, we can upgrade our axe, we can get some more kit. So there's tons and tons of hero kit here. So we've got, what we've got, lots more talents, weapon talents, skill talents. We've got outfits, so we can wear an outfit. So we've got like this Gambeson outfit. What have we got here? Smith's apron, some decent clothes. These things are giving you bonuses to your tests. Look, leather jerkin, soft leather tunic. All these things are giving you bonuses. Okay, different weapons. We've got a staff, pickaxe or a mattock. What have we got here? A long sax, some kind of sword. We've got a bow, a spear, and then we've got some more weapon talents. So there's lots of stuff you can do with your heroes as you campaign through these different scenarios. Just in this cave setting, we've got 8 scenarios to campaign through and level up through. And as the game develops and as the designers build out these more expansions, you're going to have more occupations to learn. You can upgrade, you can level up just like you would in an RPG. Level up your occupation with like a technology tree type thing. More scenarios get delivered in different kinds of environments. And then, of course, I should add, I really like this events idea. So when you get through this deck and you get to the last one, you flip it over. You ignore all the stuff about, because this is scenario stuff, this is scenario 8, but each scenario card had this event at the bottom. So for example, on this turn, should we exhaust our 6th time, then it says, all heroes recover 1 drained card and gain +2 to their next roll, and then an indicated barrier, so barrier is D, anything with a D on it, this is a C for example, becomes blocked as the gas catches fire, it says. If the heroes are in that location, then they must each make an evade versus 12 test or suffer a wound due to fire. Okay, so obviously the D is a gas vent, there you go. So it makes sense, it makes thematic sense. You see how they've tied these together. Alright, then of course you shuffle these all up, and then next time these get exhausted, some different event might occur. Okay, so this is a neat idea that says not so much, you know, you're going to run out of time, but the more time you take, the more badness is going to be inflicted upon you. So that was a quick demonstration of Legends Untold. Look out for the Kickstarter campaign. I think it starts in November 2016. And I really like it. I mean, you can sit and explore this thing. I mean, the thing about card games is you can pick them up, put them away, you know, play through a campaign relatively quickly, keep your character, pull it out for the next scenario. You know, there's so much more game in such a little box of stuff. They've done a really good job here, and I really like the depth of the game. You can see how this really felt like you know, like a D&D type delve with cards delivering those surprise elements as we explore different features. And it is kind of, you know, it's open world. I can, you know, I don't have to go this way or that way or this way, or I don't have to camp, I don't have to explore these barriers, I don't have to search this chest if I don't want to. It's just all about exploring and finding your way through this adventure. This one gets a big thumbs up from me. Legends Untold from Inspiring Games. Look out for it. See you next time.